Greetings viewers, if you click the video link, you're here to listen to me talk about the Dryfiremag. What is it, what does it do, and why should you get one, or do you even need it? So first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and take a look at it. Obviously it's already opened, I've already taken this thing out and messed with it. I put everything back the way it was so that we can do a unboxing, you can see what's in it, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. So let's pop this thing open. So you open it up, first thing in here we've got is the Dryfiremag itself in some bubble wrap. It comes with a replacement spring kit. They are color coded and labeled. I would recommend leaving all this together as is in the event that you need it. Everything is together. You have various spring options to choose from. This is just a replacement for the stock spring that is in here. We'll take a look at that in a second. And it's got a little Allen wrench so you can take it apart and do all that stuff. There's some paperwork in here. There's a little mini Bible in here if you're into that sort of thing. This is a little card that kind of explains to you how to change the springs, and a phone and contact information if you're having any issues or you have questions about the product. And then we've got the actual instructions here for how to use and operate this thing. So it's some very strange diagrams there. We'll go over and explain everything and how it works and all that. So then once we open up the bubble wrap here, we've got a little thing that's just reminding you to make sure you clear your chamber before inserting it in your weapon so it doesn't go bang when you don't want it to. And then we've got the magazine itself. This thing is actually decently hefty. It's got the orange base plate on here to help you identify it as your training mag. And it's got this little spring-loaded lever here. This specific one is for Glock pistols. They do make them for a variety of different firearms and sizes, so just make sure that when you order the correct thing. So again, it's got this little spring on here. You'll hear this distinctive clicking sound when you're operating it. So that's all that is that you're hearing, is this mechanism that's in here working. All right, so why would somebody need something like this? Well, if you've done any amount of dry fire practice at all with your firearms, you know that it can be a little tedious after pulling the trigger and racking the slide every single time. If we're trying to get some good reps and some realistic training, pulling the trigger, even half cocking the slide, pulling the trigger again, this is not realistic because you're not going to shoot like that. So we're not shooting a bolt action pistol, so again, that's not realistic. And what this product is designed to do is you insert this in your weapon and it allows you to operate your trigger repeatedly without having to rack the slide in between each individual shot. So this pistol's already been cleared. We're going to go ahead and shove the mag in. It is going to stick out a little bit because it's designed for a Glock 17. This is theoretically a Glock 19 frame, so we have a little bit of the mag sticking out. Once the magazine is installed, all you have to do is pull your trigger. The very first trigger pull is going to be a little bit tighter, so we're just going to get after that. Everything clicked. We're going to release. We hear that magazine click sound, and now I can continuously, and I'll do it from the other side so you can see, I can pull my trigger and it's actually resetting, sort of. And you hear that and you can hear that mechanism clicking every time you do this. So this will allow you to repeatedly get on target and throw a couple of good shots or clicks out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the slide off of this thing and we're gonna look at the actual mechanism itself and I'll show you how it works. All right, so again, this is for a Glock pistol. If you are familiar at all with Glocks and how they function and operate, the trigger is connected to the trigger bar that runs along the side of the pistol here and goes to the rear. That spring-loaded mechanism that's pushing forward, you can see, is behind the portion of the trigger bar that actually engages the drop safety inside of the slide assembly. All right, so again, it's locked up behind that bar, so that's all that it's operating. So when you pull the trigger, it's just pushing that forward. So if I were to take the magazine out completely, I could manually do that myself by pushing forward and pulling the trigger back. So that's all that it's doing, is it's taking a hold of this and it's just pushing it forward, so you have that constant tension, so you're able to do that. So now, the one thing that I'm going to point out that I have noticed that a lot of other people have not, any reviews I've seen on anybody doing this, I don't know if they bought the product with their own money. I don't know if they were sent it and asked to do a review, because nobody has mentioned this. I paid for this with my own money. I'm not sponsored. I'm not fancy enough for that. Maybe one day I'll get lucky and somebody will send me some stuff. So I want to just go ahead and say that I do feel like it is a little bit misleading in the fact that you would imagine you throw this in your gun and you've got a full, crisp, concise trigger pull every single time that you pull the trigger on your weapon after you've inserted it. Well, that's not entirely true, because if we look at the way that this thing operates, and again, it just pushes against this trigger bar. It's not engaging any of the other mechanism. That's why when you pull the trigger for the first time on this, it's actually activating the safety on here for the striker, and this portion of the striker right here engages back here with this. And once that's been defeated after the first trigger pull, all of this is out of play, and you're actually losing a bit of, I don't want to say realistic trigger, but you've lost a lot of the weight. So that's why they come with the spring kits here. So this one is advertised as 5.5 pounds. It's the stock trigger spring. So it's designed to simulate a stock trigger, but again, it's simulating it. It's not actually 100% allowing you to fully use your trigger as it would in a normal firing condition. You are losing a little bit. What do I mean by that? It's very hard to explain. Let me put this back together real quick. So when I pull the trigger on this without the Dryfiremag in here, and I get that full entire trigger pull, and it goes off, and I rack the slide, I release, and I pull. I am getting a full and complete weight trigger pull because obviously I'm utilizing the mechanisms in the gun. But again, doing this every single shot is not realistic, so we introduce something that allows you to prevent having to do that. So then when we pull the trigger, we get that long, heavy pull that's actually longer and heavier than a normal stock trigger pull on here, because you're fighting the normal mechanisms in the pistol plus that spring-loaded mechanism pushing against the trigger bar. However, once I release and I get that click, what I'm doing right now, this is not a full, complete trigger pull. You are not getting all of the same feel and engaging all of the mechanisms in your pistol. This is a lot lighter. I know, again, that spring is designed to simulate the trigger pull, but again, that's all it's doing is it's a simulation. It's not realistic in terms of all of the mechanisms in here fighting against your finger. Is it nice? Is it good? Absolutely. I like being able to draw this thing out, throw it on target. I really like it for that. Again, I'm using my gun, I'm using my trigger, I'm not having to use another set of anything. I'm not having to do anything out of the ordinary. I'm just drawing my pistol and I'm squeezing the trigger. But I just want to get it out there again that it is not 100% your trigger. And trying to explain this on the other end of a camera is very difficult. You would have to actually physically pick up a gun that has one of these magazines in it and squeeze the trigger on it and feel for yourself that, again, this is not the same as an actual standard trigger pull on your specific firearm. Once you realize that and you're okay with the feel, again, I can still get my same consistent placement on my trigger, and I can get on target and I can squeeze. I can throw my dot on something, pop a couple rounds off, reholster, and try again. It's excellent for that. I like not having to reset the slide every time. I like the simplicity of the product. There are trigger kits that you can get out there where you have to completely disassemble the entire gun, replace the trigger mechanism in there. You can do the same exact thing we're doing here, but get your full trigger pull. And then in order to stop using it, you would have to then disassemble your gun and put it back in your normal configuration. That's a lot of work. The fact that you can just pop this in there and pop it out and use it as long as your gun has been cleared and safe. Absolutely a great product for that. Again, you're using your firearm, your trigger, your everything. Just keep in mind, again, what I said, that it is not an exact full replica trigger pull on your gun. You're losing out on those mechanisms after the first pull, and it's just this. That's all you're getting is that, again. So if you look at the mechanism, you can kind of get an idea that this is all you're doing, is you're just getting that. So pretend that's my trigger. That's as much of the trigger as you're going to get. So as long as you are okay with that and you understand that, and again, I wanted to put that out there because I have not seen anybody else talk about it or say it. This is a good product. I do definitely recommend it still. It is a little pricey. It was around $100. It feels pretty robust. They give you a lot of extra stuff. I don't know about their customer service. I haven't had to contact them yet. However, they're putting their information all over everything, saying contact us if you need anything. So I would imagine that I would not have any problems if I were to call them. They do make another version of this that actually comes with basically a pretend round that you put in your chamber, and it works with a laser. And there's other programs that you can use with that. I just got the magazine itself. I didn't want all that extra stuff. So again, if you do dry fire practice, definitely recommended to have in your kit because of how simple it is to use. I don't mind the trade-off with not getting the full trigger pull. I don't want you to take that as a complaint and me trashing this product. I'm just pointing out the obvious that you may not know because you don't have your hands on this. You haven't tried it yet, hence why you're here watching a review video about it. That's my only, I want to say gripe, but the only thing that I would say would be negative about it. Otherwise, absolutely great. For you guys out there that may be new to shooting a red dot, this thing is excellent. Throw the mag in, holster it up, draw it out, and try and work on your speed getting that dot on target, and then pull the trigger. If you don't get a good clean sight picture very quickly, and you're sitting there fishing for the dot, you present and you're doing one of these kind of where's the dot, where's the dot, you did it wrong, holster it back up and try again. Present it properly. I am going to do a video series coming up, probably 2 to 3 videos covering red dots on pistols, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully I answered any questions you may have about this product. If there's anything that you think I missed or something you want to know more about, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I try to respond to every single comment that I get. If it's something that would require more of an explanation, then I can type in a reply to your comment. I'll be glad to do a follow-up video or a short on whatever it is to explain and go over whatever it is that you have questions about. So anyways, I am going to call the video here. Thank you for your time, and we'll catch you in the next video.